going on, guys? Welcome back to another seven-figure fitness business podcast. It's your host, Iggy, here to help you stay calm, change lives, and have business and life on your terms. In today's episode, we're actually going to be talking about the importance of having a great lead development process that allows you to follow up with your prospects at a high level. All right, now I've talked about this quite a bit, but I believe in spaced repetition, right? You got to hear things several times. And one of the interesting stats we found was that, one, if you don't contact your leads within 5 minutes of them expressing interest in the thing that you have an 80% drop-off rate, right? So you got to contact your leads within 5 minutes. But then the other statistics is that prospects need about 21 points of contact before they will make a buying decision. So you got 21 points of contact and 8 points of engagement from the prospect. So if you think about it, if I'm going to stand out, I have to constantly be following up with prospects. I have to constantly be top of mind. And on top of that, your messaging has to be congruent top to bottom. But your messaging has to be congruent top to bottom. I don't know about you, but I never have the bandwidth to even think about following up with a prospect 21 times when they come in, right? Especially if you're running paid traffic, you have people coming in, you want to focus on having conversation with those that respond. What about the 70% of those that don't respond that you fail to follow up with? That's where most of the money is made. So you want to have a process in place that allows you to continually stay at the top of mind of the leads that you're generating. And one of the things that you want to do as you're following up with people, so here are the pieces of content you want people to see before they get on the phone with you, ideally, if you're going to be taking them to a follow-up, right? You want people to hear about your story, right? Who are you? What is your story? Why should they have a vested interest in you? You want people to understand like your core values of your business. You know, what do you guys value? What are you guys the best in the world at? What type of problem do you solve, right? And there's like actually a list of about 10 questions that you need to answer in order for a prospect to really want to do business with you. If you're not able to answer it within 24 hours of them coming in and you have a conversation with them, you want to systematically drip out content that answers those questions as they're consuming your information and as you're trying to connect with them and as you're following up with them to get them back on the phone with you. So what I actually wanted to do is just pull up, one of my mentors shared this with me not long ago, but it was really helpful. He was like, these are the questions that I try to answer consistently whenever I'm doing anything, right? So when I'm building a follow-up process, when I'm doing these things, and even now to this day, whenever I create a presentation, whenever I do a webinar, whenever I do a VSL, I'm trying to answer these 10 questions. So the first question is, how is this different from everything else I've seen, right? So when somebody comes in, you want to answer as quickly as possible, how is this different from anything else that they've seen? You want to answer that question in the advertising. You want to answer that question in the messaging on the landing page. And you want to answer that question throughout the entire process, right, as they're engaging with your business. The second question that you want to answer is, what's in it for me? And when I say what's in it for me, it's like, what's in it for the prospect? What's in it for them? And then when you answer what's in it for them, you want to answer what's in it for you as a business owner. Example, if you're listening to the podcast, you're like, all right, well, what's in it for you as a listener? So, well, you get behind the scene curtain of a seven-figure fitness business operation. Like, what are the things that we're doing? What are the information that we're gathering? And what are the adjustments that we're making in real time? So I get what's in it for you as a viewer. Then you're like, what's in it for me as a business owner? Why am I giving this information to you? Well, what's in it for me is the fact that if I help you grow your business to a point where you have more opportunity than you know what to do with, you're going to selfishly reach out to us, plug Charlie into your business, and let Charlie have all your conversations and do all your prospecting, do all your follow-up, do all your lead nurture, do all your appointment setting, and do all your vetting, right? That's what's in it for me. I get you to a point where you have so much opportunity in your business. You're like, I don't want to hire a VA. I don't want to train a VA. I don't want to manage a team of VA. Okay, cool. Let me just hire Charlie, right? Let me hire Charlie to do all my messaging for me. That's what's in it for me. So the next question is, how do I know this is real? So when a prospect comes in, one, they're thinking, what makes this different? What's in it for me? What's in it for you? And then how do I know that this is real? Right? And you show them that this is real by just demonstrating the results that you've gotten either for yourself, for your clients, for others. Right? You want to show people that it's real by being able to give them demonstrations, case studies, social proof, all these different things. Show them that it's a real thing that you're offering them. And then the fourth question that you want to answer is, what's holding me back? These are the questions that the prospects are asking that you have to answer. So what's holding them back? Right? So when it comes to fitness, a lot of people think what's holding them back is a slow metabolism. A lot of people think what's holding them back is the fact that diets don't work, all these different things. So you want to explain to them what's holding them back. And if you can articulate better to them than they can articulate to themselves, you're immediately positioning yourself as the expert in their mind. It's like, wow, you know my problem better than I do. And then the fifth question is, who or what is to blame? What's holding them back? Now, who or what is to blame? You never want to blame the prospect for what's holding them back, even though they need to take responsibility, right? But a lot of times what we want to do is really easily communicate some of the things that they think is what's causing the problem, right? So like when it comes to fitness, my audience and for our fitness business, a lot of them complain that their metabolism is slow. Now we know for a fact, no one's metabolism is really slow. It's adapted to their inactivity. That's what's really made it slow. But I'm not gonna come out and be like, oh, you don't have a slow metabolism, you're just a lazy mother effer, right? We're not gonna do that. So what we wanna do is we wanna align ourselves and throw rocks at the stones at their enemy. So slow metabolism, hormones, these are all the different things to blame. You're not to blame. These are the things that we want to blame. These are the tangible things that they can see as their enemy. And then the sixth question is, why now? Right? Why do they need to start now as opposed to starting a year, 2 years from now? And it's very easy for people who are in pain and who need to lose weight and who need to get in shape. It's like, well, if you put it off for too long, you may not even be around. Why start now? Right? Do you want to continue to feel the way that you feel about yourself and about your body 5 years from now, 6 months from now? Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's like, you have to answer that question, why start now? For you, if you're watching, like if you're watching one of our presentations about Charlie and what it can do, it's like, why start now? If you're generating leads and you're not contacting all your leads within 5 minutes of them coming in, you're losing 80% of your opportunities. That's why start now, right? And if you have a lead opportunity value and you're selling anything for $2,000 to $5,000, that's a lot of money that's being left on the table. That's a lot of money that's being lost. There's a lot of opportunities being missed out on. And that compounds over time. So every single day that goes by without you efficiently following up with your prospects, that's increasing your sunk cost, your opportunity cost. Right? So you want to answer, why do they need to start now? And then question number 7 is, why should I trust you? Right? Again, this goes back to answering what makes this real and demonstrating your expertise in this area. Question number 8 is, how does it work? And this is where by the time somebody gets down here, they're emotionally kind of bought in, right? They trust you, to trust the fact that you know what you're talking about, to trust your understanding and the fact that you're an expertise. Now they just gotta understand, like, how does this thing work? How does your process work? Like, how does your program work? How does this whatever work? So you wanna be able to demonstrate how it works at a high level. And the question number 9 is, how can I get started? So if you have a process that answers all these questions, by the time somebody goes through your lead nurture process, they're pretty much ready to buy. So you want to answer, how can they get started? What do they need to do to get started? And then number 10, what do I have to lose? If they're in enough pain and they realize you have the solution, you have to answer, like, what do they have to lose if they don't do it? They're missing out on opportunities to play with their children. They're missing out on adding years to their life. They're missing out on quality of life. What do they have to lose? They have a lot to lose if they don't do this. And you want to answer that and make it very, very clear to them. There's a lot at stake here if you don't move forward. Right? And it's the same thing in the B2B space. Like, it's a little easier with B2B, mainly because there's a real monetary cost where it's like, if you don't do these things, you're actually losing a lot of money. You get the analytical side of it where it's like, it's very logical with the B2B, whereas like the B2C in the fitness space is very emotional. It's like, you can miss time with your kids. Your self-esteem is low. You're setting a poor example for them. Your quality of life sucks. No energy, low self-esteem, fatigue, clothes don't fit. So if you're able to answer these 10 questions, you're going to have a follow-up process that consistently turns leads into qualified appointments And the faster you can answer these questions, the faster you're developing your leads and turning them into legit opportunities on your calendar. Now, the cool thing is that we train Charlie to do all these things, right? We train Charlie to systematically answer these questions for your business on autopilot, so you don't have to worry about answering them yourself. But if you don't have Charlie and you're not in a position where it makes sense to hire an AI to do all your appointment setting and lead nurture, you can start thinking about what are the pieces of content that you can create that answers all these questions, and how can you systematically design the lead nurture in a way where you're answering all these questions one step at a time. All right, so if you find that helpful, go ahead, and I'm going to have like a link somewhere in the show notes where you can actually download these 10 questions and have them in a PDF document, easy for you, so you can start creating resources, start creating videos, Loom videos, whatever it is, and figuring out how you can essentially organize these questions into an easy presentation, into lead magnets, and into email series, and all these different things that you're going to be giving to your prospect to develop them and turn them into legitimate leads. So go ahead and click the button below. There'll be links somewhere in the show notes, in the description if you're watching this, and it's just going to take you to a landing page that's going to have these things for you to download. And I hope you found it helpful, and hope you start to implement it and start to see better quality leads and more consistent opportunities on your calendar. Till next time, deuces.